Hello, good morning. It's still nice to know that you're with us on EBS Benin. Welcome to Political Mandates. My name is Uncommon Ibania. Welcoming you to this conversation. You know how we do it on this program. We tend to spotlight our political issues that affect you and I, and we profile solutions through the lenses of our guests and also persons who may be joining us via various platforms. And today we'll be doing just what we know how to do best. And today we're looking at the role intelligence plays when it comes to ensuring that we handle the high rate of insecurity currently facing in Nigeria. We're looking at the role that the National Identity Management Corporation plays. We know how their role is very, very strategic, very pivotal when it comes to handling the issue of insecurity in Nigeria. They are saddled with the responsibility to ensure that every Nigerian is registered with that particular platform, and by that registration they are linked to various they're linked to the banks. That NIMIC registration is linked to the bank account, is linked to international passport, it is linked to almost everything that is being done in the country, within and outside the country. And that's being done, we know with that we'll be able to track the rates of insecurity we're having. But a lot of persons are saying these institutions are failing on their mandate to ensure that we have easy access to data, and this data will assist the intelligence and also security operative in ensuring that they handle the issue of crimes in the nation. So we're looking at how are they performing with their roles. Is it very effective? Is the need just to open a bank account, or the government is using it to ensure that they track crimes and criminalities within the countries? The issue of ransom being paid, how come we're still not able to track these kidnappers? We're still not able to track these killer headsmen who are on the rampage, kidnapping and demanding ransom, and we cannot track where these funds are going. The issue of cyber fraud is still on the increase. How come we've not been able to nip all these corruption, insecurity in the bud? That will be the point of conversation this morning. Have they failed in their responsibility, or Nigeria still is trusting on their output to ensure we have security in the nation? I have our guest this morning in the studio who will be giving us insight to this conversation. We have Osei Agbekan. Good morning this morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. And also let's look at our guest this morning, Jumbo Godwin. Jumbo, good morning this morning.
Good morning, Mr. Uncommon Emmanuel. Thank you for having me.
All right, welcome. Now let's look at the National Identity Management Commission. They were set up in 2007, and it was set up as a statutory body responsible for creating and managing a centralized database of citizens' identity. The headquarters is in Abuja. The NIMIC issued the National Identity Number, that's the popular NIN, and the General Multipurpose Card, the GMPC, integrating these numbers into diverse sectors such as the telecommunication, banking, immigration, and public service, by ensuring that they harmonize identity record, biometric information of all these sectors into one central database. Now let's come to Osei. Now let's look at this issue. It was a very wonderful picture. Let's have a central, because at that time, if you could remember very vividly, you have the banks requesting for your information. You go to the airport, they request for information. You go to the passport office, you go here, and there was an outcry. We can have a central database where with just a thumbprint, with just whatever, a facial recognition, all the information will be out, and it can ease the issue of collection of data. And that was what set up the NIMIC. But let's look at so many years down the line. Do you think we've been able to achieve that centralness when it comes to the accumulation of the database of Nigerians?
Well, thank you very much. I think to a great extent, yes. Because, for example, when you go to the bank, they ask of you, especially when you want to open a new account, they ask of, in those days, you find that they will ask you to bring a lot of things, even though some of those things are still in place, but it's a bit less cumbersome now. They ask you to bring it after international passport, driving license, and all those things, and a lot of other information. And but these days you find that with your NIN and all that, things are a bit less cumbersome. So to a great extent, I think that has been the aim, or one of the, or some of the objectives might have been met. But surprisingly, I'm at a loss at the extent to which some people are still able to beat the game, so to say. Because we find that, for example, we are told, oh, you don't have to have more than, say, 4 bank accounts or thereabout. That is the maximum. We are told that you can link your NIN to, that. But surprisingly, you hear that some of these kidnappers, some of these common men and women, and I mean a lot of people, when they are caught in the game and their residences are searched, there have been situations where they said they saw
20
ATM as or even 200.
Yeah.
So how
active accounts?
Yes, active accounts. So one wonders how they are able to, to do it. So that is I think that is the game. That is what really baffles me. And well, it's not too surprising. It's surprising, but again, there was this Nigerian who was caught abroad the other time. I think one Mutalab, you can still recollect. As technologically advanced as US, this guy was able to beat a lot of all these things. Cutting people's pension, and I don't know really what has happened to him now, whether they've sentenced him and all that. So the point I'm driving at is that it's like no matter how well the technology intends or assists, some people probably just sit down, they use their intelligence negatively, to subvert, the intention. So in conclusion, as a way of answering your question, I want to say yes, it has been very helpful. It has really been very helpful, but unfortunately, there are still some
sharp practices.
Sharp practices,
which are going to be looking,
which need to be covered.
All right, now let's come to Jungle. Let's look at as at 28th of February, which is quite some months behind. We already have total enrollment into this NIMIC. We have over 117.3 million national identity numbers have been issued. So it means that we have over 1.17.3 million persons who have been captured. And if we say Nigeria is 250 million, it means we have gone way past some level. And also, the essence of this NIMIC is to harmonize data to ensure that it enhances national security, reduce identity fraud, and also foster financial inclusion. In light of this, let us assess this NIMIC. How have they been able to perform when it comes to the issue of ensuring national security and also reducing identity fraud?
All right, thank you very much for that question. First of all, Nigeria is a very smart country. Short. We have high rate of young persons with negative knowledge because the government has refused to positively engage them. Now, going back to the statistics that is on ground, what is the primary purpose for NIN? You understand? That NIN contains your name, your date of birth, your house address, your family background, your state of origin, your local government of origin, with all those information,
your picture,
and your thumbprint, with all these informations. If I'm looking for you, Mr. Common Emmanuel, and I have your phone number that is linked with your NIN, I don't need to search further. It's just for me to put it into the system and everything about you popped up. You understand? But because of the fact that security has been politicized, that is why they are not doing the right thing. On a normal note, do you know that some persons link, there are some NIN that has multiple numbers on it. Ignorantly, the owner of the NIN does not even know.
Give us more insight. How does it?
Yes.
How do you have multiple numbers?
Like for instance, now I can link my number, your number, this man's number.
Okay, phone numbers.
Phone numbers.
Yes, with one NIN.
With one NIN.
Yes,
you understand?
it's possible.
And ignorantly, me, that is the owner of the NIN, I don't know. You understand? It happens like that. That is why you must not just sit and relax. And one of the how do you identify this? Just dial *996#. Then you go through it, follow the procedure.
*996#.
Yes, follow the procedure, and you will find out the numbers that are linked to your NIN. Because if those numbers commit crime, I'm trying to come out
national security.
Yeah, if the owners of those numbers commit crime, they will link the holder of that NIN, and the person that really committed the crime will go scot-free.
Now let's look at registering multiple numbers. I'm aware that if you want to register a phone number, you must be there, all right?
Yeah.
And there must be a thumbprint where you okay it. It's not just enough to just give them your NIN number and register the phone number. There are also a thumbprint will also be there to verify if it was your thumbprint that was attached. So how can someone fraudulently obtain your NIN and register a fraudulent number with that NIN? Do you think it's possible?
It is possible. It's possible in a way. Like for instance, I ignorantly was involved in that a few years ago. Do you know that I gave my friend my NIN to go and register his own SIM card? You understand? But the way life was going, I was noticing the guy is into one or two fraudulent acts.
And did you follow him there to register?
Yes, I followed him.
Okay, correct.
I followed him. But I was noticing that the guy was into one fraudulent act or the other. For me not to be part of it, I needed to just call. What do I do? Because I'm already seeing some foul play in the life of this guy. You understand? That's where education comes into play. You understand? The fact that you are a university graduate doesn't make you educated.
And that's why platforms are like this.
That is why platforms like this are there to educate you. You understand? Because first, you know yourself. I don't know you. Sometimes, in Nigeria, we play with little things. Because you are my mother, I'll just give you my NIN. Tomorrow, if you commit crime, that crime will be traced to me. And before you know, there are numbers of people in jail who does not know one or two about the crime. But because their NIN was linked to that crime, and they don't have explanation, they don't have evidence to prove that they are not part of it. You understand? So let's bring it down. NIN has, to an extent, has helped reduce crime insecurity rate in Nigeria.
But some persons will disagree with you.
I will tell you. See, let me tell you. Just insult government now, or say anything that is against some political leaders. 3 a.m. in the morning, you just see DSS in your house. How did they get to know you? You understand? If there is a synergy between all the security architecture, the police, the army, and everything, if they are working in synergy, nobody will go scot-free when it comes to crime in this country.
Now, let's look at the extent. To what extent have we been able to utilize this NIN to fight terrorism? Because that's one of the major bane of this of Nigeria at this moment. We have terrorists in our bushes, so many places. Somebody is caught and the videos of that particular incident are made, and the videos are on all social media. You can't track these persons, and at the end of the day you see that the ransoms are being paid, and at the end we can track this ransom. How come we have this multiple or this strong database, like you have agreed? We have this strong database, and still we cannot track terrorism, and still we cannot track the issue or these are issues. But like you said, when you insult a government official, it seems the security agencies are there to work. But when the average Nigeria is being kidnapped, 18-seater, 24-seaters, when they are being kidnapped, their videos are displayed. Even top-ranking people are being kidnapped. We have a situation where generals are being kidnapped and they paid ransom, and they were. How come we cannot track these people with the high level of data that we have, John?
That is because I think there is some religion have. I think there are some level of favoritism to some certain religion. I don't want to just, you understand, allegedly, you understand, because it's never where an S-man make video and he's now showing you that we want to kill this person. Before you know, they fire the person. There's a picture of that person on the screen. If there is synergy with our security architecture, we don't even need to look left or right or to go and hold innocent person. That picture of that person alone, once you put it on, they know how to do it. Before you know, the information about that person will always pop up. I don't know if you understand, but because some religions have been given preference, that they can now go about with guns, do whatever they like in the name of one thing or the other. That's the reason why we are still suffering the issue of Fulani men in this country. With NIN, even if the person is a cultist, you can track the person. I don't know if you understand. Even if the person is a Boko Haram, you can track the person with that NIN, because it contains every detail about the person. And the way it's going now, the way network provider has done it, without NIN, they will block your line. So which number are they now using to make those calls? You understand? And secondly, they will now, the worst part of it, they will give you an account number for you to pay ransom. And you cannot open a bank account without your NIN. Your NIN must be linked with your BVN before you talk about opening bank account. So if they really want to do the right thing, if we put politics out of it,
out of security
matter, and if we put religious favoritism and say, okay, let's fight insecurity in this country, with NIN we can achieve, if not 80%, at least 75%
success.
Now, and let me just add, let me add to that.
Please, we need that addition.
Yes,
So
I want to assume that some of these terrorists have not even registered. No, because like
So you
the
think
the figure you mentioned,
117 million as at
and
28th
yes,
of February.
as at today, the projection of Nigeria's population is about 250 million, and we all know that part of this population are very young people, perhaps children and all that,
That are not eligible yet.
that are not even eligible, and they may not even be into criminal activity because they are still very young people. But I want to assume, like, following his discussion, which I buy into, that some of these persons might not, even have registered for NIN, so that the question of tracking them may be a bit difficult. But what really bothers me, like he also mentioned, is a situation where monies are paid into bank accounts, and at the end of the day, you detecting who owns the account and all that becomes even a problem, and that is where banks also come in. You find that you have a situation like I have been duped on one or two occasions, and I go to the bank and they will just say, "Oh, you were careless with your ATM, you did this, you did that." But this thing, the raw data of this account owner, they are with you. And they will tell, oh, go and bring a police report, or go and do this, go and do that. At the end of the day, if perhaps the money is perhaps not too big, and we all know what it involves to get police involved in such matters, you know, you spend a lot. Some people just relax, you know. So it's part of the problem. So you find that just like the normal society, you know, these Boko Haram or terrorists and all that, they have people who are highly advanced in technology. That is why they are able to put something on video and they will push it out. And yet I don't really understand, you know, how the extent to which they do that, and I mean, at the end of the day,
they are not being
you cannot trace them. Okay, look at the situation where, okay, they don't want money to be paid into the bank. Bring the cash. In Ghana must go back, drop it to place, you find. And at the end of the day, I've hardly heard, very rare, that kidnappers were caught
trying to
taking the ransom.
Is it that
you know,
security agencies?
No, I think, like he rightly said, you know, I'm just trying to follow up what he said. Like he rightly said, you find that some external materials are brought into this issue. Religion, tribe, sectionalism, and all that. Otherwise, look at the American government, you know, whose citizen was kidnapped in Nigeria. They came all the way from America, tracked the location, and picked their citizen.
You didn't add that Nigerian government was not aware. You know, they were not aware.
Okay.
It was after the entire operation that they actually disclosed.
And I want to recall that during one of the past regimes, you know, we were told, you know, there was this outcry. Oh, if we cannot handle this issue of Boko Haram by ourselves, let us bring in external support. America, Britain, Israel, and all who are highly advanced in security issues. And then the generals, some of the generals, they say no, they are up to the task. At the time during the Buhari regime, we were even told that, oh, they have suppressed, they have technically conquered the Boko Haram and all that. And that was when they grew up. I mean, they were able to, they even started committing more crime. So the point I'm trying to say is that I think you see some persons, you know, are considering personal interests much more than the national interest. A situation where because this person is from my tribe, or we are from the same section of the country, or we practice the same religion, and because I want to think that we have people who have this knowledge who can track this. Well, because they are my persons and all that or whatever, or some person probably they be influenced, you know, financially or in terms of being given position. I can't just imagine it. You put okay, you are being directed. Okay, drop it there. Okay, don't drop it again there. Go to that place and
because
and at the end of the day, these persons they go scot-free.
Most times when you watch international movies, you hear they just say talk for just 1 minute, and once it's 59 seconds, 1 minute, you see that the point at which the caller is making the call from, it will just appear on the dashboard, and you see a dot there. It will tell you that's okay. We can cut this. The rest is history.
Okay.
The kidnappers, the terrorists will be tracked, and they will be apprehended.
Yes.
They just
so it's like you are not just sincere.
Make sure the conversation is 1 minute.
Yes.
But here you can talk for 1 hour.
Yes.
And no security.
And no security. You are not tracked down and all that. So I mean, it's like we are not being sincere to ourselves. We are not being sincere. You know, a lot of things are happening in this country that have to do with insincerity, corruption, tribalism, nepotism, and all that. Okay, look at this Mokwa issue. I want to assume that long ago it's been known that that place is susceptible to flood, and some monies must have been budgeted and whatever. Now more than 200 lives lost.
And these monies, let's come back. These monies budgeted that were looted or stolen, we are transferred into bank accounts.
Into bank accounts.
Now, we can't trace this money in the bank account. We can't trace it through.
At times we don't hear stories. Oh, this thing we found out that this was done, and that ends it. It's like, oh, Nigerians are good at making out, quote and unquote.
All right.
And at the end of the day,
nothing happens. Jumbo, let's look at some statistics again. The top 3 states of enrollment as at that same date, we have Lagos. 12.6 million persons have enrolled in Lagos. Kano State, 10.2 million persons have enrolled in Kano. And Kaduna, 6.9 million persons have enrolled. Now, these are the top 3 states as it regards enrollment. You'll be amazed that the top 3, 2/3 of these 3 are from the north. Yeah. All right. Kano and Kaduna, they are from the north. And when you put and just oppose that to other northern states, as the case may be. Now, and this also is a place where we have high rate of terrorist issues, terrorist campaign, terrorist rampage, and we have a very high rate of enrollment in these areas. How do we balance these facts? The persons who have enrolled here are more, and still we have high rate of criminalities, and we're even told that some of them will go around with POS machine registered with banking institution, and these persons are not being apprehended. How do we look at the rate of enrollment by states, just opposing that to the high rate of crime and criminalities in that same states?
All right. I'll bring your minds to what happened at Uromi a few days ago, or a few months ago, where the indigenes of Uromi were complaining of Boko herdsmen insurgency, and the state governor was aware. The local government chairman of that community was aware. The House of Rep member that is representing that federal constituency was aware, and yet nothing was done until the people took laws
into their hands. We can't say nothing.
Sir, I'm driving at the point. I'm driving at the point, sir. Even if anything was done, if something was done, the people wouldn't have taken laws into their hand. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. If there was government response, that means the response was too slow compared to the level of damage in that area. You just wake up in the morning, full village. Sometimes they go to farm, people's husband goes to farm, and they cannot return. And they keep crying. Nobody listens to them. You don't raise, such issue is not even raised on National Assembly. But what you hear from the 10th Assembly is Natasha and Akpabio. When we have serious matter in this country, when we have serious challenges in this country, have you ever seen the 10th Assembly sit down and say, okay, let us review this NIN? With the level of insecurity that is happening in this country, it is high time we look at how do we get headway through this NIN. They won't say things like that. What you'll be hearing is Natasha here, Akpabio here. Is that the issue that are bothering this country at the moment? Now let's go back to the north. The reason why they have high rate of people that have enrolled, and you still have this thing, criminalities, kidnapping, and all of that, is because I've told you before, some certain religion is being favored in this country over the other. I will tell you the truth. Some certain religion in this country is being favored over the other. When the people took laws into their hand at Uromi, you now heard all the emirs. They started talking. They started talking about the issues. Many of them started giving out threats, ultimatums. But when the indigenes of Uromi were killed, kidnapped, did everything, some of them their body parts were harvested and everything, everybody kept quiet. Until we take away religion and politics in this country, take away religious favoritism and stop politicizing insecurity, nothing will be done.
Also, let's look at the issue of numbers. Some persons have said the reason these numbers are high is because of the influx of aliens into the country to be registered. And you see people go through our borders, our porous border, I think that will be added, go through the porous border, come to Nigeria, and they just do the NI to get the NIN. And some persons are saying the reason we have these high numbers is because of these aliens who are often at times brought in to also be used for future elections. And that is why we're having this number. How true are some of these allegations? And they also said these are the issues fueling the insecurity that we're experiencing in most parts of the northern part of Nigeria.
That is very true. You find that a lot of these aliens are registered to vote.
And also
registered for NIN. And that is where politics, what I call negative politics, come in. You find a situation where, even within our locality, I don't want to be too specific, where loads of purported voters, or purportedly registered voters, were brought or are being brought from one state to another to come and vote. And there, at that point in time, nobody cares about whether voters register or not. They just thumbprint. You understand what I'm saying? Especially when the election is not a national affair. That is to say, if like this, what they call it now,
off cycle.
Yes, off cycle, affair, like a governorship election is taking place here now in a state A, and it's not happening in the other.
Off cycle.
Yes, off cycle. They bring in, So that is one of the issues. Another issue is that, I'm sorry to say, but it's not just a wrong accusation. There have been evidences long ago that unqualified persons, we talk about this NI and whatever. I think there's an age limit. I think it's supposed to be 18, 18 and above. Okay. You find that, and this same age are those who are qualified to vote. But there have been issues or cases of underage voters, particularly in certain parts of the country. So don't be surprised to that the figure you have just mentioned may not be connected with registry, unqualified persons for the NIN, who are not mature and who have not made the age limit, because they are always interested. Certain parts of this country are always interested in beefing up their figures. We were told, that the British colonialists made them to believe that, look, figure is very important. Majority, carries the vote, so to say. And so there were even at times we used to joke, not knowing that it's going to be a very serious affair in this country. That, oh look, even in some parts of this country, during census, for example, there is not only human beings that are counted. Even the goat, sheep, and cattle are also enumerated. You understand? So, and we are just taking it for fun. While some parts of the country try to be honest, oh, it's really human beings and all that. But we're joking. Joke was all over the place that you find that, in some parts of the country, even animals are being counted. So the same thing is happening with the NIN. My mind tells me that those who are not even qualified to register for the NIN are registering to beef up their figure purportedly. Apart from these porous border, apart from aliens coming in, I'm sure that is part of what must have beat up the number.
All right, as we begin to round up, John Bull, let's look at way forward, because we can't keep complaining. The agencies, they are watching us and they are listening to us. Now let's look at, from a national security standpoint, what reforms or innovations do you think we need to make to ensure that these NIN is not only is more efficient and security focused? What do you think? What are the innovations?
All right. One of the innovations I feel is that they should make it mandatory. You understand? they should make NIN mandatory. That you cannot access anything in this country, be it health sector, anything. If anything you want to do, even if you want to pay utility bill, NIN should be mandatory for every transaction, any movement from anywhere you are going to. Should be just the way we without NIN you cannot register for your international passport and everything. You understand? So if they make NIN mandatory, and secondly, educate the people, because many Nigerians, especially those in the rural area, they still don't know what is NIN. They don't know the benefit of NIN.
All right, Ose, what do you think innovation should be done to ensure that?
One is that I keep on saying on this platform and elsewhere that there's need for patriotism in this country. We need to love our country. A lot of things that are wrong are being done, and at the end of the day, it's swept under the carpet. How many persons have been persecuted, for debating for crime related that has to do with security, insecurity, that has to do with NIN or BVN, a situation where you have more than 200 ATM cards traced to somebody. I mean, there should be a precedent. Something the public should be made to know that, look, this is what this person has done, and this is the sanction, this is the punishment that goes with it. Right. That will call every person will be called to order, and these people will start to learn.
All right. Thank you very much. That has been the voice of Ose Agbekan, contributing his own quota to the security challenges we are facing in Nigeria, and we're calling on the National Identity Management Commission to up their game, like Jumbo has also said, to ensure that they are more efficient and security focused. Collaborate with the necessary security agencies, provide intelligence, provide data to ensure that we address the issue of crimes and criminalities in our states. That's where we're drawing the curtain today on Political Mandate on Edo Broadcasting Service and the EBS Benin. My name is Uncommon Emmanuel. Say, have a wonderful day ahead. Bye for now.